Welcome to the Deceive Inc. Next Best Survey. King Hunter here with Nicolas Serious. We
Hey
spent
guys.
about uh, 10 to 15 hours. Nick spent a little more
Yeah.
time than I did in the game.
I
Going,
amazingly only like 12.5. Like I'm amazed that with the little time I did have with the demo, it was only 12.5, which is like what 2.5 more than you. But like
yeah,
it, but it I'll let you continue. I'll give my point of views whenever I cross those particular bridges. But like the game was fun. The game
the
was
game
fun.
the game was fun.
Getting
We
that.
we spent the whole week playing, and we was looking around like, you know what I like to play right now? So I came across the survey. I'm like, you know what? We're gonna share our thoughts with the world and with the company on how we're gonna work on or improve or how the game should be released in March. I think we technically made tentative plans to pick it up actually, but
Mm,
we'll get to that bridge when we get there.
yeah.
So, we're gonna go question by question and provide our thoughts. I will start the first question. Um, the first two questions are kind of basic. Have you played Deceive Inc. before? Obviously, yes, we did. That's
Well, and this is a weird question. It should have said like, have you played? Did you play the demo within a certain period of time? Because like, did we play it before the demo? No.
true, but I wouldn't have found the survey without playing the demo.
That's why it seems like a dumb question, right? Seems like a really dumb question. Um, so what?
I guess you're right. That might be a no. How are we on question
How?
two?
Yeah, how's this a question at number one? What the hell? Um,
I'm
yeah.
alright. No, I never played it before this moment.
Wait. There's an asterisk. What does that asterisk mean?
Required. Everything
Okay,
starred is required.
I wasn't sure if it meant like oh, this is the date that we're referring to. Please select the region best represented where you are located. North America. Easy. Boom.
Easy cake. How likely would you play Deceive Inc. again in another alpha, beta, or once it's released? I'm going to put 8 for me. Nicholas?
I actually put down 10 at first, and then I realized, honestly, the one thing stopping us from potentially making this our next either co-op or game time game is me. And like, it's one of those. If I didn't hear your concerns all week, it probably would have been a 10. But you are right. This game, the way it's designed, is strongly, not even strongly, heavily dependent on the community. If there is no community, the game does not exist. It does not. Like everybody has seen this year,
Yeah.
live service games have been going kaputski, like one after the other, boom, 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 boom. So like, would a game like this survive? And the way, as much fun as I am having with it, it might be along the same lines as Spellbreak, or I'm trying to think of another game that's like that
What?
is like this. And I know I'm going a little bit too far, but like that's my thinking about that.
Correct.
That as much as I want to really really love this game, my biggest concern is how the audience will receive it.
Wait.
I
That's in
know.
the next section, sir. Give
That
me the
is
number.
9, hard 9.
Alright. He's a 8. I'm a 8. He's a 9. As though he touched on a couple of things while we was least favorite things. So what are your top 3 favorite things about Deceive? Or you
Please
could,
explain precisely why.
how about this way we each do one, you start first.
Okay. Um, my one of the things I actually do love about Deceive is that this game is unlike any other game out there in the market right now. A lot of games out there with this kind of at least model doesn't touch on the idea of it's not about killing one another. It's objectified. It's get to the objective. Do it the best way you know how to with the skill set with the skill sets that you have. And that's a fresh idea. That's something that people have been wanting for a very long time. The idea of don't just rehash the 20 of Call of Duty. Don't just redo this and those. Like this is a fresh new idea, and I like it. And that's one of the top. That's the top thing for me is that this is such a fresh idea. So I'm writing down this is a fresh idea that I feel hasn't been done before.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. I agree with that assessment. I would like to follow up with the um I agree with that it is a unique take and it's fun, cooperative versus experience because we cooperate together and play against other teams of people. One thing I do like is the flexibility in characters. Everybody has their own special weapon, but there's three different levels of that weapon that you can unlock, and then they have their own passive skill. They got three different versions, and then they got their own active skill that they call expertise that comes with three different versions. But
Mm.
they all have pros and cons when you pick them, and you won't know until you're in a match. Like, I wish I would have picked the other thing because, so like I like the gadgets and the skills and the characters are very unique and fit the game, giving it replayability. Um,
I'm guessing now it's back to me then.
yeah, do you want to do the third?
Um, Hold on here. I'm trying to think about what it should be because your idea, your concept is that that is very much like Battleborn.
Is this for the top favorite thing, or are we talking about
No,
the
no,
least
that's
favorite?
me echoing what you said. Like it's very much like Battleborn. I like, and I say that because with Battleborn, as you are playing, you would unlock, and that's how character like the skills are unlocked in this game. The more you play a particular character, the more they level up. When they level up, they are able to like unlock certain divergence of their abilities. It's still the same core abilities, but it's kind of like, oh, it's branching out this way. And you're right. It's a choice like, oh, do I use this perk with this disadvantage, or do you use this perk with this disadvantage? And I love that. I like it. It's a pretty good thing. But that more or less is echoing exactly what you said. But whenever you were saying that, I was thinking very much of Battleborn and how you were very much into that kind of game and gameplay and the whole structure of how that worked. Um, I
Just
think for so sorry.
just to provide a quick follow up, for those who don't know, Battleborn was one of my favorite games that is no longer playable. And the way that worked was it's kind of like a MOBA. As you play through the game, you start every round, every match at level 1, and during the match you go to level 10, and each time you level up, like Nick was saying, you'll pick a different skill. Like, hey, you could have a one really strong arrow, or you could shoot three mini like weaker arrows, but in a fan pattern.
And out, yeah.
And like every character, there was about 20 or 30 characters had different builds like that. So it gave you a unique incentive to like change up your character on the fly based on the level, the goal. Because sometimes matches was there was a co-op campaign, there was a versus mode normally, and there was like co-op versus the environment type thing. So you could choose what type of character you wanted to build at that time, and there was of course items and other things, and everybody had different movement abilities. But yeah, so that's what Nick is referring to. Maybe we at this point I could add some Battleborn gameplay from YouTube.
Oh yeah, that actually wouldn't be a bad idea. Um, but for the third thing I like about the game, um, here's one: the world seemed full. There are certain games that's kind of like, oh, there's not enough NPCs, they're not doing enough variety of things. The way that the world works with your avatar, like when we first started off with the game, we were like, why is it that our character when we were in disguise is not doing exactly, not looking exactly where we're looking at? That must be some kind of game flaw. No, that was actually a game mechanic, so that you look like an NPC and you can blend in very, very, very well with the other NPCs if you do it right. You can look like a regular Joe, and like that is very beneficial in this game to be able to blend in. And I think the way that they designed all that was just really shockingly good.
Agreed. Agreed. We did have a confusion as why did we like move like that, but there has been so many gameplay moments where sometimes he was right, sometimes he was wrong. Like this guy
Mhm.
is fake. I am telling you, this guy is a spy. He's
And
wobbling
we
too much.
and, and we popped that dude, and I'm like, oh, that was a regular Jim. and
That
now
was
everybody knows it was spies.
that was an
So,
AI. But there have been times where it's like, yes, that was a guy. We didn't know his three friends was behind us in disguise, but that was a whole, it became a whole scene. In those moments, to go back to what Nick said earlier, it's a unique take on the spy versus spy genre
mhm.
that you don't get in other types of games. Like, so yeah, I popped around a corner, hit him with the AK-47, threw two grenades and a knife, and I walked out of there. Like, it's not the same tension.
No,
It's a
no.
different kind of tension. Did somebody see you walk down the hallway and take the cover of that staff person? Are they slowly following you in this room to shoot you when you least expect it?
Yeah.
Amazing experience. Um, I think we covered the three, um, um, the, the top three favorite things. I will let Nick read the next question, and I could provide my number one because I've
All
been
right.
harping.
What are your top 1 to 3 least favorite things about Deceive Inc. If anything? I love how they added that. If anything, and I'm both like, oh, if you have something negative to say, put it down. But if you don't, just leave it blank. And explain precisely why.
Okay, I am going to harp on this one, and I am not going to try to spend 30 minutes to get to the point. As Nick alluded to, that I said earlier, it's the community. The game is currently set to be $20, probably with a little discount for launch. But when you boot it up, it looks like a free to play game. Matchmaking seems to be slow in a demo. It's one of those games that is going to live and die by the community, and any type of uh, initial thought, like if somebody big says this game sucks, it's probably going to die on a grapevine. That's that's my least favorite thing. The community is a strong focus. This is what I'm writing, and I don't think the game can hold on long enough. Like it has to maintain the community. The game has to maintain a community. Otherwise, it's unplayable. And if you wait too late to get into it, you're going to miss out on the best moments of the game.
Mm.
Which is why I plan on getting it on launch or like a day after for the weekend or whatever. Do you have anything else you would like to add to the community topic, matchmaking, anything
To
else?
that, no, no, no. You
Or
hit it directly on the nail there. Um, like I said, if there's not enough people to play, then matchmaking doesn't work. Matchmaking doesn't work. The people who do want to play now can't play, and then it becomes okay. This game is officially dead in the water. I almost wish that they could add um a bot element. You know that's a horrible idea, but like just to be able to always make sure there is a game. But like you said, like the way that it's designed right now, if there is nobody or not enough people playing that fit the criteria of where you are located and everything else, then this game doesn't. It will die, and that will be a very very sad death, especially to me. Like I really want this game to succeed. Not that I have any stakes in it, but I always want to encourage good fresh ideas, and this is one of them. Find a way to fix this. I don't know how. I don't know if you need to tell everybody screaming from the top of the rooftops. I don't know if you need to get billboards and let people know that this game even exists. Because there are people who don't know. There's people who
yes,
don't know about this game. You guys need to work on your marketing and your PR. But like, there are people who don't even know about this game, um, and they should. Because there are people out there who are willing to play like this. So yeah.
to follow up on what Nicholas stated, I agree. Marketing, having it during the Steam Next Fest is great. We literally remembered that the game existed during the week it happened to be playable.
Yeah.
Was the only reason we went to like, what happened to that spy game? This was a literal conversation, and we went to go look it up, try to remember what the name was.
Hmm.
Called it Defiance like 19 times. And then we
Yes, you
came
did.
and found it on Steam, like, oh, it's playable now, and it became the obsession for the week. But as Nick stated, if the community isn't there, the game is going to die,
Hmm.
and that's the biggest part. And in the follow up on also what he said, I'm putting my money where the mouth is. Like, I'll give you $20 if I get 20 hours of entertainment out of it before bad things happen. I will enjoy the ride, especially while it's popular in the beginning. One thing I do notice as another least favorite thing, the start menu, the start screen, which I'm gonna put up right here, looks very free to play. There are three different currencies, two of which wasn't in the demo, and everything was very attainable in the demo. Like, oh, you play a couple games, get a new character, get a new skin. Like, you never felt like you was missing out on something. But
Yeah.
for longevity, I feel like that's going to change.
Hold on. Hope you're gonna put a pause on this. What's up, buddy? I know. I know what time it is. You have the remote control? I give it to you? I asked you. You have it. Where is it? Oh. Okay, please. Okay. Give me your hand. Turn it over. Get 30 minutes. I'll be up soon. Clean up your game station. I'm sorry, man. Being a dad.
No, it's fine. This is why we're recording it, because you can crop all that out.
Yeah. Um.
Did you want to follow up on any least favorite things? Like I wrote down, the game has a free to play feel, which may be detrimental for a $20 game. Um, for my third.
For your third. Shit, that's right. You did go first. What was even my second? I'm trying to remember. I thought I just talked about.
We bounced around community.
We did. We did.
Talked.
Okay. Okay. Wait. All right. So here's something I actually do find less favorable about Deceive. Um, Now the hardest thing is gonna be able to word this in a constructive kind of sense. Actually, you know what? No. But what I'm putting down is the idea that they need to find a way to continue the game, even if not enough qualified people play it. And that was just one of, and that's just gonna be my second.
Okay. I'm gonna read the next question, and we'll just rotate like that.
Yeah, but that was kind of how I had it in my head. Give
Okay.
me a second to finish writing this down. And what was your third? Remind me of that. It wasn't the marketing thing.
I put matchmaking. My first was community. Second was matchmaking these players for the best experience. I
See,
plan on playing
I
at
was dumb enough.
launch.
I put both of those together.
Oh yeah, well, I spread it out because matchmaking speed, is it slow because there's not enough people, or is it slow because it's slow? That's a
No, no, because we came across a situation where we would meet people like, hey, I remember Black Cat. Oh yeah, that dude. Dude was fucking what's his name last match. So like like is the matchmaking really like is the idea of the community so small that it's trying to match these few people like this is the pool. And the reason we kept seeing those people all the time was because those were the people in the pool that we were dealing with. If the pool was bigger, we would see those people less, but we saw those people almost all the time.
but we also don't even have any idea about the pool. Like unlike other games, of like, oh, it's this many people online. We don't know if there was people online who was already in their own games, and every
That's
time
true.
we get out of our game, they already got a new game going. Or was it really a room of 30 people just matching up like that? um. So yes, I put that separately. This
I probably should do
includes
that.
the speed of matchmaking as well. Um,
There is one thing I actually did like least.
what's that?
What's his name? It wasn't Hans. It was it Chavez.
The
I
black guy?
hated the fact. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hated the fact that because everybody else's weapons seemed balanced, balanced enough that like you can't run and gun. But there have been times that we were playing that game, and Chavez would just be like, "Yo, I'm not even in disguise." Pop, 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 and like the police. Like the either wasn't enough police to balance that out whenever someone's like, I'll just shoot anybody. And I'm like, I wish there was some kind of balance for that. So more balance when it comes to trying to run and gun the entire game.
Yes.
Run and gun the entire match. There, that's my actual one.
I think that goes into the style of the game too, because if he was by himself, he couldn't do it. But if he has a partner or two, he could do it because you can stop at the ammo places, get ammo for 3 intel, which is like nothing. Um, Depending on what perks you take, you could get more. You could carry more ammo based on how you level up in the match and stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually, you just choose like, hey, like you said before, we don't have to be there. Don't break cover and don't be a guard, and you won't catch a random bullet.
That's true.
So I won't
True.
mark that as a con, because that's just like adapt to the situation. Like I see a black man going off in a corner, I'm gonna walk on by as a staff person and pray to the Lord I don't catch a bullet. um,
You're not wrong. Definitely not wrong.
Next question: did you play the tutorial in its entirety?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
And I believe we even streamed that too. Well, I
Yes,
streamed
you
us
definitely
playing.
streamed and we played together at the same time. I'm gonna click
All
next.
right. Next. How effective would you say the tutorial was in preparing you to play Deceive Inc? Honestly, it really was like like it explained the basics, but honestly, the best teacher was the game itself. Being in the being in the field, actively going, oh, I see where the usefulness of this comes in. And like I said before, whenever we were in the tutorial, we didn't understand the idea of the disguise and the direction of that your disguise would be facing to, why that would be the way it was. And once we played the game, like, oh, okay, we see why that is. Oh, I see why Squire has the ability, which almost seems broken, but I like it, to be able to find items throughout. And I think the only now I wish I went back because I don't think about all the things I wish that like I wish the game had like a damage number indicator of some sort, but that's later. Um,
Yes.
but but I don't think the tutorial was horrible. I just think it was also like it could only explain so much. So I guess it was okay. Uh, so I guess I'm going for a 3. I want to click 4.
I
Hold
gave
on.
it a 4. The point you
I
bring up is valid. It gave you what you could, but half the problem with these games is that the people you play with, like Chavez running down a hallway, and a
mm,
crack team who already breaking a vault door 2 minutes in, is like, wait, what? Is a different experience that the tutorial can no way in life prepare you for.
that's true.
And
But it does break it down like the basics for you to like okay you evolve on the field, which
yes,
is one of the plus things about this game. Like oh you learn more when you play. It's not like oh you're completely in the dark. The tutorial does teach you. But I put down 3. That's what I put down.
I put down 4. And to follow up to your other question, I do like that Squire ability is broken because everybody power is broken in their own way, very
And
situational, and I like
and
that.
yet and yet very balanced. It's not like
Yes,
oh like one character has the ultimate like the Chavez can go like oh you can't hurt me, but he also can't attack. So it's
yes,
kind of balanced. Cav can be able to like oh I can find who was here before by investigating these computer parts or whatever, and that's really cool if you know how to use it properly. And Squire does the whole oh I can find items throughout the area. Everybody except for Yumi has very useful ability.
but maybe because Yumi has useful abilities, but we don't use the gadgets enough. Because thinking about it now, I have never once threw down that bouncy pad and jumped out of a three-story window. Never
Really?
once, and that's what it was made for. I never
Yes,
took it in my pocket, and I'm sure you used it all the time.
I did. It was great to block doorways that people were chasing you through. Whew.
Yeah.
Block doorways, turn the corner, change the skies, just walk past them. It was great.
So even playing together, we had completely different play styles and experienced the game differently. Cause I was more of a plant man myself. Don't get me started on the plant. That's blend in with the furniture man. Somebody to the corner. Plant, plant, mannequin, plant. Whatever. I'm looking for a person, and they just run out. And I. But that's why I enjoy the game. Because we had those experiences playing together.
Mm.
Versus I shot the guy. I also shot the guy. Well, I shot him harder. I shot him with 3 headshots instead of 2. Okay, well, I mean, you wasted an extra bullet, but you know.
Yeah. Which was, once again, not part of the game. The game doesn't necessarily reward you for the killing; it rewards you for getting the objective out. You know. Um, but yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
How
Um,
confident in your understanding of the game were you after completing a tutorial? Now, for me,
three,
I'm gonna put a 3.
three.
Yeah,
Yep.
3, because
Once
there's.
again, not bad, not horrible. Just Oh, I understand that. I move around and my gun goes pew pew. I mean, like cars do this guy does that. Like, actually, you know what? No, I'm putting down a 2. And this might have been because like we were trying to do it at the same time and there's a little bit of confusion. But
Yeah.
like, I truly felt that my understanding of the game before my actual first game, like I felt like the tutorial underprepared me for everything. And when I got into the world, I'm like, okay, I'm learning things on the go. I'm doing things like as I move forward. Like, how long did it take us to figure out that the spy goggles, like the spy glass, actually can like hack things from a distance? Wasn't
And
aware of that.
revive. The
And revive.
revive wasn't even on the description. I think you
Um,
told me that because you tested it out.
yeah, yeah. Either that or I think someone in chat actually mentioned it. I'm like, oh, look at this. Yeah, I wish if, if if I have a suggestion on how to improve tutorial, I wish there was
Well,
a
hold
base
on.
tutorial, but
There's
I
a
also
there's a question for that, like right
oh
underneath.
do you mind if I read this one out loud then?
Yes, you
in,
could go.
in your opinion, what, if anything, was missing in the tutorial that would have helped you understand the game better? I wish. I'm writing it down. Give me a second. Oh no, I have to explain it first. All right, so I wish the game had individual training for the operatives. Oh, if you want to use Cav, it'll kind of give you, if not some kind of video to show you their abilities, it does do that, but like there needs to be more training for each individual user because they are so distinct that I feel that the video that like you move the mouse over it hovers over the icon and it shows you a little video what they do. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I kind of wish the game allowed like, okay, in this situation which would be best for this character, this is what would happen. For instance, for the guy with the scarf whose name I don't remember,
Larson.
Larson. He's able to go invisible. So being able to in a way train that, or like when go to a place to train that, like with dummies and what have you. Like, oh, dummies coming towards you, you throw it down and you can actually see the effects without the constant concern of I don't want to die. Oh, I'm in training is a very different feel of um let me use somebody else for example. Cav, very easy thing. Like just go to a thing, go to like a computer or one of the hackable intel things, and use her ability. But it took me using it in the field repeatedly to learn how to use it effectively, and that's where I learned how to use it. Like watching the video didn't help. It helped me understand what it was, but it didn't really help me understand how to properly use it. And I wish there was some kind of extra training at the very least for each individual character. I think even Rainbow Six has that now, where like, oh, if you want to try your abilities, in I think I'm trying to remember if that's how it was. Like you could try the abilities in the shooting range, but I'm not sure that was just abilities or if it was just guns. But something like that needs to be implemented so that you can actually try. Or some kind of actual like, okay, I want to play with my buddies and I want to see how well this works, or some kind of playground because the lobby doesn't give you enough time to fuck around.
I would actually take the opposite end of this argument because that's exactly why there is a tutorial section. Not the tutorial, I'm sorry, training section,
Is there a
which
training section?
it's on the main menu. You can't do
You
it
know what?
together, but
I've never touched it.
I
That's
will
my bad.
say this that I do like that this game because it's like it doesn't tell you everything you can do and you have to play the game and learn like, oh, I could connect this with that. Like you was saying like, oh, Larson, I could turn invisible, run out the door, turn around, block the door with the bouncy thing and book it up the stairs. No one would tell you that, but that's something you figure out on the fly or something you remember because you know the best way to get out of a sticky situation with that character. And that's why, going back to why I like the game, because of the characters could be played differently based on what gadgets you have, how you want to figure out your playstyle. Is it a lot to take in a tutorial? Yes, but until you get to 1 or 2 games in, maybe 3 or 4, you won't really understand that character. Or
Mm.
even somebody like he said, like Cavalier, who he calls Cav, who can like research who was the last to touch something. She got multiple ways of like, she could go from like, oh, somebody hacked this computer, here's their location, versus this dead body was shot by this guy over here. Like you can change your entire playstyle based on how you want to approach things.
Yeah.
And to do things like that for Cavalier, you don't have to break cover to investigate something. You could just be
Yeah.
a regular staff person standing over a body, like, huh. Little does the enemy know that you're looking at, the guy who was like in a room across who did the shooting,
Yeah.
even though he's in cover. So for me, I don't think the tutorial could do any more, but it makes it very important that the game is playable and that there is a matches that you could get used to. Maybe having some sort of, well, I guess this won't be the tutorial, but making sure people at the same play level play together and not professional people who put 100 hours in. um,
100 hours in a week's time.
in a week's time, and they become like, "Hey, I know you're just learning. Sucks to suck, right?"
All
The tutorial.
right.
Hold on.
I'm guessing you already entered in your information. You ready for the next one?
The tutorial did what it could, but it um having players of the same rank play together helps with in-match learning, in-game learning. I want to play it right now, to be honest with you.
Right?
Like that's
The more we talk about it, the more we want to get into it. Um,
question. How clear or understandable do you find the game to be overall? I'm gonna go first since I read it. I I think a 4.
whew,
To add up to that,
whew.
to add up as a 4, this is also going into the fact that I played literally probably 25 games of the game, 25 matches. So after everything was said and done, I learned, about the game. Initially, no idea, but that's why we was playing.
To be honest, this is a hard one. Only because this falls into the category of I don't know what I don't know. And there were a couple of times, especially during the last few times we were playing, that we found out something about the game we didn't know about before. And I almost find that refreshing and great, the idea that when we play games, and the more we play games, we find out things that we didn't know previously. Um, no, like I mentioned before, the spy glasses, something that's a starter equipment. It took us what 6 hours to realize that was a thing. Um, we we to learn certain strategies and tactics. Of course, that's separate, but the core basics of the game. Like for instance, we really didn't know that key cards were easily just found in the world. We didn't have to look inside the drawers of like the of security to always find a key card. They can literally just be laying out on like a dining table or an armchair or something like that. So like those things come from exploration more so than like the game letting us know that it could be anywhere. Um, And I have to admit, the first, 2 to 3 hours that we were playing, we literally just let people win. Because we really weren't sure, even though we went through the tutorial, how to go about winning. So I think the game didn't do a good job explaining that. I think the game did a good job helping us experience that. It wasn't explained in any kind of text or tutorial or any kind of hold your hand procedure. It was through playing the game that we learned X, Y, and Z. So my answer to how clear or understandable did you find the game to be overall? It wasn't that the game was confusing. The game more or less requires you to learn on your feet. It is a field game. It is a game that you have to learn while you're out there with people shooting left and right, people dropping on the ground. What do I do now? You learn your strategy, find a plant, be the plant. Boom. Other people's strategy might be like, okay, I was this person, quickly switch to this other person and move on the opposite direction. Other people learn, I'm just gonna be Wild Bill out here. And each character allows you to do different things. So like it is definitely a game that you have to go out there and feel this is where my niche is. So did the game did a good job explaining that? No. Did the game do a good job throwing me into that mix? Yes. So for that I put down. I was gonna put down a 2, but the more I talk about it, I'll give it a 3.
So I gave it a 4 only because of the like we had time in it. I guess you can read the optional question. Going forward, we'll read the question and the optional at the same time because I believe you touched a lot on your optionals.
Mm.
Um, so I will read the optional question. It says, "What was or what are most confusing things about the game? Be precise as possible." Now, you stated your piece, and I just want to follow up to your piece. I don't want to fault the game for making this game because no one else will make it. So of course there
Mm.
would be a learning curve. Unlike something's like, okay, what's the game? Okay, there's your friend. There's you. Here's a gun. Go find and shoot them. I got it. Like of course we've been doing that for like 18 years. Like there's
Yeah.
no learning curve there. You just learn which gun is better. Aim, get up on higher, you know, platforms, shoot down at people, go get the power weapons, whatever. But this game is trying to do something unique, so of course there's a learning curve, and I don't think they could properly provide tutorial or training on like every little like
As,
interaction.
mm.
Like saying, for example, to go back to the spyglass. We didn't know it could revive. We didn't know it was used for intel. What we also didn't know is that you could use it while you're in cover. See, playing made it
Mm.
like, oh, this is actually useful because I thought I'd be standing there with binoculars like a dumbass looking for so somebody walking by would know that I'm a spy. But no, they don't
That's
see
true.
that.
Yeah.
So that changes each one of these gadgets, and players and characters and skills all have these like little layers to them, which I enjoy. But a game can't dump that on you because if you do it, it's trying to like play something like League of Legends. Here's 150 champions and all these items, and they all interact differently. Good luck. I'm like, yeah, no, no. So for me, what was one of the most confusing things about the game. I don't want to blame the game because I was new to the game.
Yeah.
That's and it was doing something unique. So for me, I'm gonna put I just had to get a few rounds in to at least fully understand to at least fully understand what's going on. Um, would you like to follow up on what you said before, or just for what?
Because I really like I realized what I wrote down needs to be a little bit more, like needs to be explained more. What was the most confusing thing about the game? Because at the same time, it's like I it was confusing, but I liked it. Like you said, like the word learning curve was definitely a word that would sum up everything that I was feeling, and there was a decently steep learning curve. But I loved that about the game.
So do
So I
I.
don't want to be like, oh, that's confusing. Don't do it. But maybe
I don't hold that against the game, but I don't hold.
maybe a little more hand holding, just a just a tiny bit.
Well, how much hand holding? Cause still,
No, yeah, like I don't want them to take that completely out of context. Because you're right, like I don't want them to be like, okay, when you're in this particular situation, this is what you want to do. But even when it comes to like, you remember back in school, oh, this is a situation that this tool uh will be applied to, or when you're in college, or even when you're in trade school, like, okay, this is the thing we're using as an example to apply to this. But you can apply it to other things. It limits your imagination, so on and so forth. But I do wish there were certain things that they kind of explained more, just a little bit. Just so, how about this? Just a little bit more explanations on the tools and a more hands-on explanation on the tools and abilities
I wanna
have been helpful.
I wanna go against you on this one too.
All right, let me hear it.
The reason why I find the game enjoyable and we talked about is because the characters and the tools and everything, because there is limited explanation or it tells you what the basics, you try different things in different places. Like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. I, I didn't know, and I think that's part of the not just the learning experience, but your enjoyment.
Mm.
Like when I scanned the thing, like, oh, you could become furniture. I'm like, I'll never need to become furniture. Scan a plant, somebody's chasing me, I turn the corner, immediately turn onto a plant next to a similar plant, and they keep walking. That is an enjoyment that, even if they showed me that, it won't be the same as me trying it out like, oh, I can't use this plant here in this room because the plants here are different from where I copied this plant from. Like that sort
Mm.
of stuff. Also, do you want to have a 10-hour training section as soon as you boot the game? You
And,
must go through the class university training. Like, you know what?
at least
Uninstall.
have it as an option, like I don't know, like an obstacle course, something. Like I don't want a 10-hour thing, but if they did add something like, oh, if you do 10 hours of this, then you can get X, Y, Z, like that. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to mention. I think I completely forgot. Content. I wanted to mention that before. I should have wrote it down, and I thought about it, but then we got into our discussion, and we forgot about it. So let me just talk
Um,
about it now. I wish that, like, I know they didn't release any kind of season like battle pass or
I was
whatever.
gonna save stuff like that to the end in case
Are you
they
sure?
had
Okay.
questions about it.
Then let me write that down so I don't
Yeah,
freaking forget. That's the last thing I want to do.
because we were on page 3 of 7,
Goddamn seven.
so I didn't want to like talk about every question in detail
You're
because
right.
of
You're
that,
right.
like you said. Because they might ask about content or their season pass, or they might give hints to their next plans. They'd be like, oh, um, but
So I'm
yes,
going
sir.
down here then. How easy did you find it to navigate, know where to go in the game?
You want to go first or me?
I you go first on this one. This is actually an on the field thing. I want to hear your opinion on this.
I will put a 2.5
You can't
because I
put
know.
people.
I will round them up and give them a 3. Nicholas informed me about the map, the hold left bumper and then go to the spot. I love that there isn't a map initially. I hated that there wasn't a map, but I like that once again you learn on the fly and the thing
Hmm.
will tell you the shortest route to get there, but you don't have to take that route. It's just that when you come into the game, you're so used to looking in the bottom left corner or the top right or somewhere for a mini map, and all these other games got you trained that you forget you have to use your eyes. So, not holding this against the game, I do appreciate it. I'm giving it a 3 on this particular section.
Okay. All right. So when it comes to navigation in this game, I think a lot of the times, like the fact that there's no map, we were kind of agitated about it, but we forgave. I want to believe that we forgave the game because it gave us other ways to track things down. For instance, if you like you said, you're able to look at something and kind of tag it, and it'll show you the line path to it, which is useful. but I wish there was a little bit more on. And I know this is based upon the mechanics of the game, but I couldn't tell you how many times we worked hard to get into a place to only find out that it wasn't a place or somebody else already broke into it. I wish there was some kind of indication that this place is no longer good. Like either that it disappeared or whatever. But even if it did, if it does that, then the game loses its kind of like flavor and flair for it.
Yes,
Um,
agreed.
but I have to admit, a lot of times we the biggest struggle was orientation, like knowing where we had to go, when we had to go there, and what we had to do once we got there. Um, and once we got into the swing of things, it was a lot easier. But like that in itself did take us a while to kind of get used to. So, how easy was it to find? How easy did it? How easy did we find it to navigate? Not that easy when we started out. We learned to get better, but it doesn't mean that it was good. So I'm giving that a two.
Okay,
I'm giving that
I
a two.
I would like to fight Nicholas on this. I agree with all his complaints on the game, with the way they're hand holding and the lack of training, but I think that's what makes the game stand out and special because it doesn't hand hold it. It doesn't train. Like, for example, if we had a map, right? How would you portray that map? Because some of those places have four or
Oh,
five
four.
levels,
Exactly, right?
basements, rooms inside of rooms that you didn't know about, secret entrances, other things. Do you mark
Ex-
those?
Exactly. And, and
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 I
what
guess
good would the map be in that case? When like if it's a sky view, top down, excuse me, um, then a map would be kind of useless, and especially in those situations. And what else would it display? Would it just display objectives, or would it display other players that are tagged? Or like what's the purpose of the map in that situation? And because of that, there is no reason to have a map. But it doesn't make navigation any better.
correct. You just have to, for me, you just have to get used to playing the that
Mhm.
game that way, because it
Yeah.
could have a map like in Deep Rock Galactic, which is it's confusing in that game sometimes when the stuff loops back on itself. Um, I think I will end my thought on this one with this. I like that the game forces you to pay attention to the situation you're in and pay attention to the things around you to orient yourself and go from there. Which is one reason why I didn't want to think this is a game time game because my sister actively hates doing that.
Behind you, or the other behind you.
Like, oh, we marked the thing, follow the yellow line. I don't know where to go from here. Like, oh, you gotta get like, but that's a whole separate conversation. But I do
Yeah.
appreciate the fact that it forces you, like, hey, you got your little look through the wall button, pick out like how to get to where you're going, but you gotta keep your eyes open for opportunities and new things. The key cards aren't gonna magically glow when you're looking in your map view or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Um, how easy would you say it is to identify an enemy spy? Your opponents.
Ooh.
3. For me,
Really?
three. If you know what you're looking for and you watch somebody, because there has been times when you're like, I'm gonna follow this guy. He's wobbling. He's drifting left and right. This is very not person. And it turned out I was correct. So I jump him in the bathroom.
Those were rare times.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. But there was also times where I assumed off because I didn't do my due diligence, and I was wrong. You're absolutely right. But I think it's I don't think they should mess with that at all. I think that is completely fine. Like,
I think that, and then this happens to be the not the catch 22, but like the department that wants the AI to act more erratically because there are times that players were just like, screw it, I'm just gonna jump over things and like, okay, that's obviously a spy because actual AI don't jump over things, um, and to kind of like I, the department that kind of wants the AI to be able to do those things rarely. For more situations like this is a person, I'm gonna wait till they turn a corner. Pop, pop. Oh shit, he was not a spy. More moments like that, I believe, will make things a lot more tense. And I love the idea of tensity. Even though this is a very lighthearted spy game, I wish it was a little bit more tense. The idea of excuse me, the idea of okay, who really is a spy? Who really? And I'm like, obviously, if you see somebody just hanging out by the door of the of security, you're like, okay, you are an enemy spy because there's no reason for an AI or NPC to be able to want to be at that specific location so close to the door. I but if AIs did
I
do
had
that,
experience where that was wrong, by the way.
I cannot wait to see this footage. I have never seen an AI come by that door and just like oh, I'm just gonna chill here. Like nine times when I saw it, then the door magically opened,
Are you
and I'm
talking
like,
about
huh.
like guards?
No, no, I'm talking about like civilians. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
Civilians. When civilians came that close to the door, I'm like, and then they just walk away. I'm like, okay. And then the door would open. I'm like, okay, you're able to walk away as you're about to unlock it. And I'm like, okay, this guy's obviously an enemy. I I guess all I'm saying is I wish the AI was almost programmed. To, not the AI. The NPCs were programmed a little bit more human-like. No, more sporadically to seem more human-like. Maybe not say that all of them should jump, but let's say there's like a 0.001 chance that an NPC will jump over furniture to get to a place. But oh, okay, well that's obviously an enemy spy. Let me go pop pop. Oh, that's not. I want more of those oopsie moments. Then you have to kind of wonder, okay, should I even bother to break out of cover, or should I just like what, it's chill. But at the same time, I don't want it to be so extreme. Where like, oh, NPCs are just randomly jumping. Like I don't want them to ruin it, but I do want the NPCs to be a little bit more human like, so that it's harder to identify an actual spy.
I have to disagree once again.
That's fine. You are entitled to do so.
Only because the NPCs are not the actual focus though. Like you're looking for other players, so I don't want anything else acting erratically because what you want, like you said before earlier, you don't want Chavez to just be running down a hall, running gunning. As the same, I don't want normal day-to-day people like the cleaning maid to be jumping over a bench for no fucking reason because she felt like jumping that day. Like I'd rather force the players to play the game. Like, hey, don't draw attention to yourself by leaping over the couch versus having an AI. I'ma leap these 3 tables and jump up this wall. Like, why? Why? Why?
Mm.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't see you just in case somebody see me shoot you and they shoot me. So.
I get that because of that. I bumped it up to three. Not my answer. I actually like that. I'll take that. That you have changed my mind successfully. I like that.
Success. But yes, that's where it's like I think that's why, as a side note, I think that's why this game has such an impact on us right now because it's forcing players to play the game differently than a normal Call of Duty style. It's like either blend in or get put down. um,
I like that. All right, my turn. How easy would you say it was to identify who was carrying the loot during the extraction phase? Um, I to be completely honest, I rarely made it that far. 9 out of 10, it was a fight. Like all right, like we would get to the last part, to the area where the loot was, and it was always the teammates who didn't have the loot that I was fighting with, and that would eventually take me out, 2 versus 1 and all that. So I rarely ever saw the actual person with the loot unless I was watching the spectator mode, and usually I see the loot on their back. So like
I
maybe you could get more insight on that. You probably
um
saw that more often than I did.
I agree with him. You can see it on their back. They also ping the
But only
left.
whenever they're not in cover, like whenever they're
No,
not disguised, you see it
well,
back.
well,
Or do
hold
you?
on. It
Okay.
pings their location when they have it, regardless.
Okay.
So that's what we know where to go, like where they're moving to. Like I think it's like every 10 or 15 seconds. Because when we used to hold the loot, sometimes it was a circle counting up at the bottom before it dings and pings your location. For this one, I give it a 3. Like you say, as we was learning the game, we didn't really experience it a lot. But near the end, as we almost won this one game, there was such a nail biter moment. Very intense. I give it a 3. because they knew where we was at. I didn't feel like we ever won because like, oh, nobody's here. We came
Yeah.
close to winning because somebody posted up and knew which one we was going to, and it's like this is the closest extraction
Oh,
point.
I hope I have that footage of being sniped. Like we were there and I just got hit. Like what happened?
Like, I have you dipped into the room. I'm like, I gotta stay in cover, dude. I can't help you. You're being pinged. Your location is being given away. They had the drone. I'm like, I can't shoot the drone because I'm also in cover. Like, I wish I had a grappling hook to go up to the roof and like do something, but that's a different
Free
argument.
information there, guys. Grappling hook person. My God, can you imagine that? It's not sure how
Uh,
you'd implement to find a way to make it happen.
to follow up on a grappling hook person as a counter argument, that only works for certain levels though.
nah. What's
Some
talking
of
about
those
low?
levels are very like, wow, this is hallway after hallway. When I can't use my grappling hook? When you go down into the main area of the mall and then you could grapple up, so everybody knows that you're clearly a spy.
You know what? Yeah, Mitch, that don't take that idea. I put down 4 because like you said, the ping made it easy to identify who had it, or at least in what direction you should be going. And whenever they were not in disguise, they physically had the loot on their back. Um, it wasn't very easy. Um, I think the hardest thing was always the extraction was a point where you had to kill. That was
Yes,
the hardest part. And not because like killing was hard, but the game almost seems like it wasn't designed for that. So it seemed like it almost seems like when you're playing DSX and you're playing the entire thing sneakily, and it's like, okay, now you have to fight somebody who is overpowered, over arsenaled, outguns you and outmaneuvers you, and has backup. I'm like, I have a I have a water gun, I have a sleeper gun right now, and you want me to fight dude who's prepared with his friends? No, thank you. Go on with that loop. I got enough points to get my next level. Thank you. But yeah, I don't think it was hard to to identify the person. No, I think the only hard part was the combat that had to happen at the end. But I know why it had to happen at the end because if it happens at any other time, it ruins the game.
agree.
So I get it. So
I agree.
I put it for.
I agree with your assessment. I'm giving it a 4. I'm also going to follow up on what you said about the extraction because it becomes a very attack defense focused game mode then. And I think one of the key purposes of going back to something we talked about earlier is the lack of community. Because if you have a full lobby of, I think, 12 people, and 3 people are trying to extract, everyone will be descending on this area. And all you have to do is be the last man standing holding the package. Just sit and wait, walk past. Like, one of the things Nick told me about was like, hey, if we're extracted, don't be a guard, dude. They're just going to shoot you just for I'm like, you know what? I didn't think it. Because the guard was the best disguise up until the extraction.
There was,
Hands
yep.
down. And I
Or
like that.
until you realize somebody is literally just shooting every guard in fear that, oh, everybody's gonna like no, like you should never pick the VIP because everybody wants to be the VIP. So you either shoot the VIP so you can be the VIP, or you shoot the VIP because you know somebody else is already the VIP and you most likely would just get a free kill.
Yes.
So yeah, you gotta be very careful about whose identity you do indeed take.
And these are decisions and choices you're making on the fly as the game
Mhm.
progresses. Man, I want to play it. um, did you ever feel motion sick or uncomfortable while playing? No. I don't need to
Never
elaborate.
once. Like never once that ever was a thing. So yeah. How would you describe the game overall performance on your PC? Actually, this is also another shocking thing for all the moving parts that was in this game. It ran smoothly with all like I have seen games that go, oh, we're gonna have a room full of people, and my computer is trying to commit suicide. This game felt full. It didn't feel like the number of people in the world that I was sharing with multiple other people at the same time was making my computer want to just take a plunge into water. It was good. I liked it. I think my computer overall performance was very good. So I'm giving this one a 5,
I
and that's
also
that's more on me.
I also gave it a 5. Even the game defaulted to like the highest settings and he was about to turn it down, but I'm like, nope, for what it is and what it's running, gave it a 5. Recordings look good. I'm sure Nick was streaming, so I'm sure his stream looked good.
Oh yeah,
Can't no complaints there. Which game mode did you play? I played mainly teams.
same. Did you ever play solo?
I don't think so, because if I ever was playing and you was free, we played together.
I played solo a handful of times, and let me tell you, dynamically, it is different. Because in teams, obviously, if you go down, you're like, okay, my teammate can revive me. Whereas in solo, once you go down, I'm really waiting. Okay, cool. I'm gonna come back to who am I talking to? No one's coming to rescue me. Shit, play the game again. Um, yeah, like team was obviously a lot more fun working as a team. Like, oh, I got the number of intel, you got the outfit, I open up the door, you go in. Um, I'll try to unlock it from a distance using my spy goggles because I got enough points to do so. And that teamwork aspect is nowhere to be found in solo. And I don't know how you can. I'm not saying that solo is like impossible. Like I'm guessing if you have to be really good to be playing solo by yourself and rely only on yourself. But I guess you and me have been working as a team for so long. It's kind of like it's automatic that I'm like alley oop. I just throw the ball in the air and you dunk it, or vice versa. So like that was the mode that made the most sense to me with this game. But
Yes,
I do wish there was duos rather than like, oh, if you don't have a third, then you just kind of suck to suck.
I do agree with you that solo is a different experience, but I guess you will also play differently too because you can only rely on yourself. So you'll wait for somebody else. You'll hover around the door. You'll go slower. You'll wait for somebody else to open it up. Like, oh, I'm gonna slide right in. um, but yeah, in these duos, but I don't want to split the player base anymore by having a solo, duo, and a trio queue. If
Considering
we're
that there's already a difficulty with getting enough people to play, period. But maybe given that three three man team, maybe that was kind of more the issue when it came to like matchmaking. Especially since you and me are already on a team, they would have to find somebody who's playing teams who's not on a team. Because if you're not on a team, then you just pick solo. But you know what I mean?
yes, and we have no idea if solo means you go solo if they can't find your teammate, or you automatically go solo anyway.
Yeah.
Cause I did click next to go to the next page.
All right. Did you ever revive a teammate who was down?
Yes.
Hmm. Quite a few times. Quite a few times. Oh, this is fun. This is always a fun thing. The completely disagree to completely agree section. We can do one at a time.
Okay, so tell us how much you agree with the following statements. I felt helpful to my teammates.
Somewhat
Somewhat
agree.
agree. Yeah,
My teammates were helpful to me. Somewhat
somewhat
disagree.
agree. Oh wait, you somewhat disagree?
I some
Motherfucker, I'm your
thought
teammate.
I you first of all you were always my teammate. Second of all, there were times that you were you. Like you were like I am here. And I am like you were also learning. Like all right, perfect example. Remember the time I actually got the loot, and three people were gunning me down through the building. I'm like, Paris, I'm coming around the building. You're like, yo, I'm coming around the corner, man. Like, I come around. You're like, why are you here? I'm like, I need help. Shoot these people. I think like you were already in disguise. I got shot down. You turned the corner, became a plant. They took the loot, ran away. I'm like, what happened? I'm like, I didn't tell you to come to me.
I did tell you to. I had the lady with the crossbow. There was nothing I could do against three people who was actively looking to kill. What?
Distraction, because at that moment in my mind, like I'm the VIP. I am the person with the shit. Everything else needs to more or less revolve around me, or at least picking up said shit from my back. I wish I could have handed it all. If I could have
Yes,
handed
I
it all,
think you
that
could
would be
drop
great.
it if you
Oh,
held
that would
left
have.
bumper or
But
one
yeah,
of the
that would have been
bumpers.
great.
But
But when it comes to my like that was a situation. Keep in mind, there were times that we were on point every time. You know what? Yeah, you know what? I will change that because there are times that we were on point every time. Open the door, go through, get the key card, swipe, hit this lever, go around. Oh, this guy's shooting, distract that guy, go. Like sometimes we are on point, and then there are other times it's like, do you know I'm here?
Well, in those times, it's generally the enemy knows we were spies and started shooting first. Because
Mm.
when we was on point, we controlled the momentum and the flow. When other people got us off guard, it's like, okay, I have to book it out of here, Nick. Don't shoot. I am running away. Just pretend you don't know who I am, and they're gonna go about their business. I'll let you know who the guy was when I get to the safe spot. Um, it was easy to identify teammates. I completely agree. They're like, you can see them through walls and whatnot.
Uh, can we?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, once you realize when it first loads up if you had a third person or not, that's the only difference.
I thought the only thing that signified a teammate was the name over their head. I was actually gonna say I would like an outline
They had an
through a
outline.
wall. I didn't see it. Like for me to know where you were, I think I had to look for your name bobbing up and down.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I know if I'm dead, you had to look for the skull in the outline, which is hard
Which
to
once again,
see.
that's all. Never seen. Once again, I saw your name not moving, and that's where I went.
Okay, maybe an outline. It might be right. I would somewhat agree. You're right. I see. I wish we could play it again.
Yeah, right. These are questions that we need. Like, we need to go back into the game and feel it out one last time. I'm gonna put down somewhat disagree. I wish there was an easier time to see teammates.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave mine as this is already hit next, and I want to exit the form.
Yeah, hitting next to. All right, there we go. Go for that one.
How easy would you say it was to aim and shoot at your opponent? Skip if you didn't experience this.
If you didn't experience shooting at opponents,
Hey, maybe you just didn't continue to pass the demo. As a side note, it's very interesting because people track like how many people complete certain Steam achievements.
mm,
Some people rarely get past like the first 10% of a game, yo.
that's true.
It was like
That's true.
complete the tutorial. It's just like
Nah, screw all
80%
that.
of the people who own this game completed the tutorial. Like 80%? You mean you put think about all the games you buy or acquire that just sit in your library. You
That's
literally
true.
don't have
That's true.
achievements for those. Like
Yep.
boot it, turned it off, never touched again. So, um,
I
I say three because it depends on the character for me,
it really does.
which is how it
And,
should be.
and in all honesty, I also still wish that there was somewhat like a damage indicator. Not an indicator that I hit them, but some kind of indicator that oh, I'm actually hurting them. Because like with your lady who had a crossbow, it was like okay, is she even doing damage? Where
Yes.
my character who has two guns, I'm like, oh, she must be doing damage. Pop, 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 pop. 5 minutes later, I'm like, why am I still popping at this person? They should be. I'm hitting them. They should be dead. They shouldn't take like two clips for me to finish this person. And then it's not like I'm missing. It is literally, I still need to find that clip where I'm aiming at this woman's head, and you're like, why are you missing this woman? I'm like, she is. In my screen, it was pop, 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 pop at the back of her head, and she was just like, wasn't even like she was reacting to it, but she wasn't like I should get out of the way reacting to it. So yeah, I'm going 3-2.
I don't know why you was shooting that NPC that hard to begin with.
I thought the NPC was an enemy spy, sir.
Well, when they didn't react to you dropping two magazines into their face, you should just let it go.
Well, isn't that what eventually what happened? No,
Yeah, I think.
because no, because the enemy spy ended up showing up elsewhere and killing me,
Yeah, because I was in that
like
room.
either
I was the
behind me or
plant.
behind her. Oh yeah.
I was the plant
See?
watching you. I'm like, why are you shooting that many things? Like, this could be a spy. I'm like, sir, they ain't shooting back by this time. We're running. I do have that highlight, so I'll bring that
Okay.
into the thing. Next question.
How how easy did you find it to understand where you were going, when you were getting shoot from? Honestly, it
Three.
was one of those. Really, three for you? I'm gonna say two because there were a lot of times that I got shot at. I didn't know where it was coming from. I would just run in a general direction where I thought it wasn't coming from,
Fair enough.
and sometimes it would just end up being like, "Oh, you ran it directly into my arms. How nice of you."
Fair enough. I am grading it three on the basis that when you do get hit, they give you the damage indicators on the screen. But like you said, from the nature of the game, if somebody's in disguise and follow you into the bathroom and you didn't expect somebody would be like right behind you, that's not the game's fault. That was somebody specifically targeting you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing you could do unless you were like, my watch glows or something because somebody's near me, which will break the mode of the game.
Would it?
The feel of the game. Like,
Would
oh,
it really?
you
I
start
guess it
you
would.
start
I guess
looking
it would.
at your watch, like looking at the mini map, like, oh, somebody's near me. Like. So I gave it a 3 because they did what they could, but with the way people could hit you from up high, from low, they could break their cover and then turn into a plant after shooting you. Like, you could be like, I was in this room by myself and there's a box in the corner. It's like, I'm sure the box didn't shoot me, but if you're new to the game, you didn't know that people could clone to look like
Into
boxes.
yeah,
Like, that's a good strategy actually, just be a dick. Because I
giving
don't think
yourself
there's a
ideas.
cooldown to using your gadgets. Just your cover.
I mean the actual like spike gadgets and the little bungee, the bouncy house thing.
Yeah, like if you break cover, you can still use all your gadgets immediately. There's no delay.
I think the bouncy house had a delay.
I mean, after you throw it. I mean, what I'm saying is like,
Oh no, no, sorry. It had a delay if you lost it,
yes,
or something like what you're saying, like spyglasses. The I'm gonna call it the duplicator. I never knew what it was called, so I'm calling it a duplicator. I don't think they had a cooldown. I don't think. I know the spyglasses didn't. I don't know about the duplicator, but I'm pretty sure, like, you as often as you use it, I don't imagine
I
that it
don't,
had a delay.
I don't think it had a cool. I think it had a cooldown after you popped out of it, so you couldn't just keep going back and forth between being a plant and being a person. But I mean,
Yeah.
like after you break cover, like if you shoot somebody and their back is turned, I truly believe I could have had my hit my duplicator and turned into a plant right there, dead set, wherever I was standing. And I don't think anybody would, because like you said, you'd have turned around like, someone shot me and I have no idea who it was.
I want to play this game right now. I really do. Goddamn, just talking about it, like I wanna experience these things.
Because
Goddamn.
moments like that you don't see in other games. Moments
No,
like
you
that,
do not.
that is someone actively trolling you, and you just start shooting everything out of anger. um, is this my question or yours?
It is. It is your question.
How easy would you say it was to use gadgets? Skip if you didn't use any gadgets.
It was. I'm gonna start off this way. It was very easy to use gadgets. It was very hard to understand the best situation to use gadgets. Like I
Fair
said,
enough.
the spy glasses took us a while. Once you found out you can clone yourself into a plant, you use that and you hug that. That was your tool, and that was your baby.
I,
Um,
I stopped using
now
it once I saw somebody else use it on me. I'm like, well, the cat's out the bag. He tried to do me nasty.
I truly do believe that using gifts, using gadgets, very easy to use. Figuring out the best situation to use said gadget requires a certain mindset and a certain play style. Not everybody like the little turret that was there. I barely ever used that because my brain didn't work like that in this game. My brain was very much like, oh, I want to get away from this place. Throw that bouncy house down, leap up to the third floor, close it up. I'll pick it up later. Or from a distance, I'll open that door for you, bud, and I'll try to unlock the other door through the open door you have open for me. Like those gadgets I am used to using, and my brain can kind of figure that out. Whereas other gadgets not so much. I think using the gadgets obviously is not a hard thing. Finding a best way to apply the use of the gadgets, that was a difficult thing, and that's not the question here. So, based upon the question, how easy would you say it was to use gadgets? I hit the button, it worked.
Um, I agree. I gave this a 3 because, like you said,
How?
it was easy to use, but if you count it as, like you say, how easy to use as in hitting a button and it works, or easy to use in the moment you needed to use it, or the best moment for it. Like,
Exactly.
it's one of those questions.
Do gadgets take too long to activate? That's kind of like.
Or
Do you
the
think that might be how it's asking?
or is it this the best time to use the gadget? Because I was thinking of what you said. Like you said, like, I love that though. Like, you literally used the spyglass and the bouncy house thing. That was your thing, and that became like, so you your brain focused around using it. Like, yo, I'm gonna bounce up to this next window and roll out. Close it up. I'll let it reset. I'll circle around and revive you, dude. And I love that the game is like that. That it was flexibility.
Yeah.
Um, I guess I could give it a 4 because it was easy to use. I wish each gadget had its own button instead of me switching to them.
Oh, rather than have it, yeah, I like the directional button, like how
Yeah,
up would always bring out your. I was thinking
yeah.
that too,
Because you
only
can only
because like
have two
sometimes hitting
gadgets.
Y twice, like oh someone just shot at me, and I want to throw down my little bouncy house thing, but like I need to get to it. I'm like okay, that I shouldn't have to like wrestle my Y button.
Yes, that's what
I
I
should have to
agree.
tap it twice for that to work. It should be like left button toss.
Agreed. And that's why I think I gave it a 3 because I would prefer because you only have two gadgets. Left toss your left gadget, right toss your right gadget, up is your gun.
You know what? You convinced me. I'm hitting that 3.
Um, I can see why they wouldn't do that for gameplay perspective because if you catch somebody out of like you catch them off guard, they can instantly react to you just by hitting their gadget button or their gun button.
Uh,
Final take.
Conclusion. Is there anything else you would like to tell us about your experience playing the game?
Nicholas would like to go first. He wanted to bring up
I would
content.
tell everyone this game exists. Because I put that in capital letters. People don't know about this game. I can scream from the rooftop, but no one hears me. They need to be able to like spread the word out some way, shape, and let people know this game exists because this game deserves attention. I truly do believe this is a really fun game. You can really get into it. The character, like it's fun because of the art style and quirky and interesting, and but it also tests out your brain and everything else. Um, Especially if you have friends, like the whole team aspect. I have to admit, solo not fun, but maybe that's just me. That's just how we played the game. But I do believe, like I had the most fun playing with you, or whenever we were able to get a third. And if we're able to get portion into it, then we have our team. That's almost like escapist. But almost escapist 3D, but not really. But but like you get what I mean. Like the idea, everybody has a role, and like you all work together to this common goal of grab the loot and escape. In this case, it was spies. Who knows? Like in another instance, they might have like Thieves Inc. and it's thieves trying to break into a place. It could be the same exact thing, but like this concept hasn't been done before. Do not lose hope. Tell people about this game. I'll spread the word as much as I can. Um, but yeah, this is a really fun game, and I feared that it would slide into a quiet pocket of hey, did you know about Deceive Inc? One of those very undergroundish kind of thing. I don't want it to be that because of one, the way the game is designed for players to actually play, it doesn't reflect that, and two, it's a fun game that deserves to be played in an ecosystem of gaming where fresh ideas need to be appreciated more, and this is definitely a fresh take on just is there a genre for this?
Um, I wrote down that it's a funner version of a Among Us style game because you still get the whole deception and stuff, but there's objectives that you can actually maintain. Like it combines everything and it's a full game. I'm
Mm.
sure it has a genre listed on the store page, but I don't have that open. Um,
All right then.
it's closer to a social deception game though than anything else because it's not like we're playing against AI. We're
But
out.
true, but you're not really interacting with other people other than like, oh, how well is somebody else able to blend into the world,
Well, I mean that's the
which the world is
deception.
great, by the way. But I guess yeah.
Like let me see. Um, was there anything else you wanted to mention? Um, right now it's considered under under Steam. It is tagged as an action shooter strategy sandbox stealth game.
God, keep throwing more words in there, scene. God damn.
I can see
Those
that
words are true, but like, it's too many.
the genre is action indie strategy, which I can see that too. Like I let me get my pun out the way. I think it's deceiving to think that this is a simple game because of the cartoon graphics. There is a
Yes.
lot of higher level thinking and strategies that you're doing on the fly, and you don't realize, like, yo, like sometimes you're like, yo, why did you jump out the window? I'm like, why didn't I jump out the window? Like, they looking for people who jumped out. Why? Like, things you don't think about because somebody could literally be watching you in the same room as you,
Yeah.
which we had happen many times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that guy is a spy. They triggered the right track. All right, I'm gonna shoot them. Two of his friends show up. Who you shooting? Like, who are you? And like, I think I enjoyed my experience, and I'm gonna plop down to $20. There, I said it.
Wait. Legitimate, like you. Well, shit. Who am I to break up the party? I guess I'm plopping $20 down in March too.
Um, my sister could play during the demo. I doubt she'd be on board because there'd be a lot of hand holding. Oh, that's the other thing. There is
I'm
no
listening.
safe place to train somebody, so they'll be learning
Oh,
live
all
fire.
right. That'll be one thing. Jeremy, I almost was. Can I go back and will you erase my answers?
I it shouldn't. But I'm not going
Um.
back because that's why we had the last section to voice all opinions. Because hopefully they'll see our videos. Because I doubt many people are doing survey videos.
Right.
um,
We just made our own genre right now.
yes, yes we did. Um, we
Thing's favorite.
I
Uh, practice team. The This game needs a team training team training mode.
yes,
There.
I will agree with something that Nicholas was saying earlier that we was talking about. This game is going to need content and season passes or whatever have you, uh, at least every couple months. Like, we should get new maps. For me,
Or at least map rotation. At least map rotation. So I understand making a map is a big deal, but at least have some kind of map rotation. Like have enough maps to have a rotation on.
and that's one of the problems that the game is going to launch with apparently 4 maps, and we played
Three. Like two and a
three,
half really.
three, yeah, two and a half, because we didn't really get to play Diamond Heist or Diamond Spires, whatever it was called. I enjoyed when we did play it, but if it takes you like 6 months to make a map, you should definitely think about. Since we're at the conclusion